What it do, everybody? This is Ken Maurice Purnell, and welcome to the Dreamer, the Believer podcast, live from Lazy Pickle Studios here in Burbank, California. This is the podcast that breaks down one's goals and one's successes. We're talking about the ups, the downs, the victories, and even those moments that we consider to be defeat. We are talking about the journey that one takes in order to get to greatness. I'm so excited today because we got a special guest here in the studio. This brother is the real deal, an accomplished singer, actor, model, and even philanthropist. When it comes to music, he has an original style that bridges the gap of many different genres into one seamless sound. It invokes a feeling of the past while bringing them into the present with top streaming songs like I'm Lost, Throne, Make It Hurt, and many, many others. He truly knows how to translate the essence of a song by incorporating elements of jazz, soul, R&B, and even classic standard. Working and collaborating with various chart-topping, award-winning, nominated producers, writers, and musicians such as Mark Rodriguez, Nick Rosson, Andrew Jocelyn, Stephen Felix, and many others, while also being mentioned in Rolling Stone magazine, it's very evident that his music talents have only begun to soar, with so many new heights still ahead of him. Not only is he achieving greatness in music, but also showing he is a force to be reckoned with on the small screen, with multiple TV films that can be seen on Lifetime like Revenge for Daddy, Swim Instructor Nightmare, and Nanny Dearest. You're probably wondering, how does he do it all? Where does he find the time? But it doesn't stop there. He's a brand ambassador, commercial and model talent, working with such brands like Target, IHOP, Serta Mattresses. The list goes on. Even with all of his talents, he still finds time to be an active force in his community. Working with such organizations and charities like that of Engage the Vision, which mentors youth in South Central LA, as well as South LA Cafe, which helps to create an equitable, healthy, sustainable lifestyle for its community and residents also in South Central LA. And we're not just talking about someone who is out here writing a check. This brother is out here putting in the footwork amongst the neighborhood to see that we as a society have what we need in order to succeed. It is such an honor and such a privilege to have this opportunity to chat it up. Please welcome my friend, my brother, a real dreamer, believer, worker, and achiever, the one and only Mr. CJ Hammond.
Thank you so much. Now that's an introduction.
That's the introduction.
Yes, I feel good right now. Wow, I need that every morning, bro. No, I appreciate that. Repeat. Thank you, man. I am really, truly appreciating being here, getting to sit with you and have a conversation about everything that you just talked about what it takes to achieve a goal and in the process. So I'm excited.
It's a lot of work and stuff that goes into it. Usually whenever I start an interview, like people are like, how does he get these people? How does he know them? I always try to go back to how we first met or how we first interacted. And you probably don't even know this. Do you remember how
That's
we
what
met?
I was about to say. No.
I'm trying to think. I don't know how we officially connected. I know it probably was on social media.
I was going to say the age of social media.
Yeah, it was the age of social media. But do you remember the first time we met?
Oh, God. You're going to have to film it.
Okay. The first time we had met, I believe it had to be around 15, 16, or 17, one of those years. Mm. And the reason it was you were doing a charity giveaway for turkeys.
Yes.
And I came in, and I came and gave you, what did they say? That was the first time we had met. And I still remember it was like, I handed you the turkey, and you kind of like just took it and put it down. Then you just gave me this big old hug, and I'm like, I felt like I had been seen. Like I had been working my behind off all that week. It was like a real stressful time. I was working like 13-hour shifts at this, doing catering work. And I came up to you. You was like, yeah, what's up, brother? We thank you. We appreciate you. And like, you was just real dope. And I'm like, oh, he's the same person on social media that he is in person. Because you know, it's always weird when you meet someone that you haven't had any like real connection with.
I appreciate you saying that. What I'll say is I know this, that kind of love that I show, my girl, she jokes about it, but I'm genuinely like that because love is my language in terms of that's kind of what I've decided I'm going to be in life. I'm not going to do it, I'm going to be it. And a lot of the things that circulate in my life and the people, it's really easy for me to express love. Because that's the kind of household I was privileged enough to grow up in. I had parents that showed me a lot of love, and so when I find people of like that are, especially when we met, you took time out of your day for it wasn't even for me, it was for people that needed food for Thanksgiving, and you took time out of your day, so the only thing that I can do is give you a token of my appreciation, which stems from my energy and my soul, so that's, me. Then so my hugs mean a lot, man.
I appreciate it, and it's like shoot, I felt it, and then even then from then on, every time we've seen each other, whether we randomly passing each other hiking, same energy, same type of vibe. We both sweaty and whatnot. I'm like, okay, what's up?
Yeah, no, I feel like once someone shows you I think you showed me your truest of colors too, because it doesn't. It takes a lot to give, but it doesn't take a lot at all. Yeah. And you show me your truest colors, and any human that is able to show empathy and see other humans, I have a fond appreciation for. So it will always be love every time we see each other, bro.
I appreciate that, brother. Yeah. Man, that's what's up. That is what's up. So have you always been a singer or performer, or was this something that you just started randomly? How did it all start? One day were you singing in the bedroom, your mom heard you singing your ABCs and she was like, that sounds good?
No, I'll tell you how it started. It was actually in 4th grade. I was in all-city choir. Okay. And I remember, but I was so athletically influenced in my life. A lot of what I did in my younger ages, like many people, it's little sports, but I was football, baseball, basketball. And I remember, I don't know how they pulled me out to do all-city choir, but they pulled me out, our choir teacher in elementary school pulled me out, went through and did that all-city choir experience, but it was so foreign to me because I felt so out of place because it wasn't a place, the sporting world isn't a world of artistic expression in the way that I've become known to now. Seeing people sing and do those things, I was like, that's not me. I'm not a singer. I don't express or I don't emote like that. And so that was my first taste. And then 6th grade, I played Snoopy in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And that was the last time I did anything like that until I started singing out here. And I didn't get started until, now it's 4 years ago now, but 31. I got started really late, because I had an audition for a play out in New York, and I needed someone to play piano, so I met Mark Rodriguez, who is a producer I work with, and he did this song, and he was like, he helped me with the audition. He was like, so you don't sing though, you just do this, and I was like, no, I really don't, and he was like, all right. So that was it. I did the audition, and then a week later, he said he didn't want to hit me up, but they had to do a demo track for an artist at the time. And I did the demo track, and they liked my track, and they were like, why did you guys send this as in a demo? We don't, who's the artist, though? And so at that point, Mark gave me the option to become an artist, and I didn't understand at the time. I joke with him now. I didn't understand what was happening when they say become a music artist. I'm like, I like making music, So it wasn't until literally 4 years ago, I had been taking vocal lessons because I wanted to stay sharp in case the day ever came where I needed to sing on something. But it was literally me and Instagram whenever I wanted to sing and something, whenever I felt something musically inclined in my soul. So that was not in my soul in the way that I ever pictured it. My dad was a singer, and he still is to this day. All he does is play piano and chords, and he'll hum some melodies. I like that, but that's 24/7 throughout the day. So it lives in my soul, but I never got the chance to express it until later on in terms of the way you would think about it. It wasn't until in my 30s that I got into this.
So musically, you weren't really doing anything from that time period,
Not touching anything. I might have some voice notes or something I thought was cool that one day I'd get to, but it wasn't until I got to work with Mark that I really got to finally start expressing. And even still to this day, I feel really blessed too, but I'm learning the art of it, that it's your art and it's not to be compared to anybody else's, because the hardest part for me is creating something, wanting to express it, but it doesn't sound like this, or it doesn't, especially these days, because my music, like you talked about, it kind of tries to merge sounds.
Yeah.
So I'm taking chances because I know I could fit in certain lanes, but I don't want to talk about all the things they do because I don't party anymore. Like, you know, like Friday night, I might be out for a minute, but me and my girl are, you know, in bed by 12 o'clock, if not sooner. So, yeah, and it was not a part of the plan. I promise you that.
Wow. Okay, I feel it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Nah, no worries. So you said that your dad sings also. Was he like your biggest inspiration to you as far as like music? Is that where that came from?
As far as what I know, it has to be.
Has to be?
It has to be because he literally was piano all day and singing this, Whitney Houston, Luther Vandross. I remember driving out, Kansas, we would drive out to Kansas to go see my grandma. And she lives on the side closest to Missouri. So it was an 8-hour drive, and we would just listen to Mariah Carey tapes, Luther Vandross, Quincy Jones. Like, there's so much music that I have in my soul that I've forgotten about from when I was a child that I finally got to embrace when I decided to take on the artistry of this, that I really didn't realize. My dad was a huge influence, but all those artists he'd play, like Marvin Gaye, everybody. I mean, you know, like anybody that you can think of, and Bobby Caldwell. Like, didn't even know Bobby Caldwell was white until, you know, like 10 years ago. You know, like, but really have a fond appreciation for that genre of music, that era. That's where it comes from, him and all that, yeah.
Gotcha. So you didn't really like have someone that you were like hoping to be one day and emulate as far as music wise, because you weren't really, that wasn't your focus.
Never ever. I couldn't even tell you. They're like, the people that I would want to emulate are the people like Marvin Gaye or like Gil Scott-Heron, in the way like he's able to articulate, but in poetry, you know, about, right now in my focus on artistry is focusing on how to speak to society as a whole in terms of common themes. But like, I always found people like Marvin Gaye was one of the most brilliant people at that, you know, What's Going On, Mercy Me. I mean, the list goes on. But there's a lot to think about when it comes to artists. But the only ones I can think of are from the past. There's nobody right now that I'd want to sound or be like. I appreciate everybody's artistry, but I like where I'm at.
You like where you're at?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a very, very unique sound. Like I said, like it's not what you would hear typically, especially from today's age of music, and then especially from people our age.
That is the hardest part about me wanting to express my art, and I've had to change the way I looked at it, because I was looking at it like music, and I said no one's making music like mine. But I'm taking each piece of music that I'm making, looking at it like it's its own canvas, right? And some of these all work together in piece, but I needed to be able to say, this is where I was at in my life, and this is what I put out. But I didn't see anything like it for the longest time. Like everything, and even my sounds, like when I tend to go into my head voice, it kind of like, I'm so nervous that other people aren't enjoying it, because I know, like, to me it sounds good, but for me, others, I'm like, they probably hate this, like, stuff.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I hate the way I sound in my upper register. People are like, keep singing. I'm
no,
like, really?
exactly.
I sound.
Yes, I'm with you. I get nervous about it, and I think that's the part where I'm just going to embrace where I'm at and how I sound and the way we do it.
I be wanting to stay down in the rafters, and my vocal coach like get on me all the time. She was like, "You are a lazy first tenor. You can hit them high notes. Quit playing around. Quit wasting my time."
I'm gonna need to get your voice coach.
That was what she had told me. So even with acting, did you ever have dreams? Did you ever dream of even working in entertainment, or?
Maybe. The best answer is maybe, because I always knew that when I went to go see movies, I'd leave feeling this movie of exhilaration, like I want to be that, like I want to be there in that. I don't think that life ever because literally with sports, once I got done playing sports, I was kind of aimless, because I associated my identity with that while still having the ability to sing and act and do all these things. I never wanted to challenge myself in that avenue. And so I got done with college, and I went through 2 years of working at jobs where I was just chasing the check, going to a bigger, better job, better pay off the base, plus commissions, was driving around in a Mercedes and stuff like that, but I was so empty. Like, I had a wonderful life there in a situation that could have, been a permanent life there. I totally could have seen it, but my inside, like my soul, was not resonating in a vibration that I knew could sustain me for a long time other than that, because I was kind of drowning, you know?
Ooh,
Yes,
I know that feeling all too
yeah.
well.
So, and
Yes.
I think many people know that that's when a time for life changes is needed. So having the awareness was one part, but taking the action was the real scary part of that. And I always tend to think like I don't give myself enough credit when to even get out here, it took that chance, right? So I'm glad that I did, because it was not in my line of sight to be in this position right now.
So then what led you, well, how long have you been out in LA?
This was May 6th was 10 years.
Okay.
May 6th was 10 years.
Okay, my 10 years coming up too.
Yeah, it's a big, hey, that's when I feel like I've paid my dues and maybe I can buy a Dodgers hat now.
Got you.
Yeah.
So when you decided to move out to LA 10 years ago, were you pursuing the acting? Because you weren't really pursuing music, correct? From my understanding.
No.
So what was the whole LA journey about then? Was it just to find who you are, find yourself out?
You know what's crazy is if you say that now, I don't even know if I saw what my purpose, what I just was like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do. Because what had happened was, I left Denver with only knowing this, that I had an opportunity to model out here. I did like 2 modeling jobs with an agency out there because I had zero money coming in. I had to do something. I went to an open call. And at that time, I had a buzzed haircut, so I went in for, it was a hair product I went in for, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just here to run the runway. This is a hair show. And I was like, but they were like, well, we would like to consider you for other stuff. So I did 2 jobs, and I was like, I want more of this. And so that feeling of there led me to, I did 1 magazine out in Colorado. I thought it was the coolest thing in the sense of I was like, okay, now at least I have something to say. And I went out here, signed with an agency out here, and the rest kind of, once I did modeling, it was like, what's next? And I was like, okay, well, it looks like there's acting. All right, after acting, or commercials. Then, commercials went to acting, went to music. The music was the last frontier, and it just came because it happened organically. I never pursued that, but I think that's why life is cool. Sometimes things tend to make full pictures with you not being able to see it while you're in the midst of it. But it all, sitting here with you right now, it's funny to talk about it, but it all worked out.
Wow. So rewind back to 10 years when you made that decision to move to LA. Who was your biggest supporter? Was it yourself? Was it other people around you? Because to make a move like that, and I know because I've done it, you have to have some foundation of some belief, whether or not it's the belief in yourself or someone else pushing you, be like, I see something inside of you. I know you can do something special.
I know this. I know my family was a big instrumental piece because you don't get it, in terms of the way I grew up, my compass was strongly attached to a sense of self that was knowing of my greatness but never wanting to announce it. And because I didn't think it needed to be, but I think that there's times where it's finally time to I need to show up. I'm going to show up, and I think my parents understood that I was taking a risk on myself, but they never questioned me. They never questioned my move. I had their full support. And I was so fortunate because when I left, I remember it was the scariest thing. Me and my dad drove out together. I packed all my stuff up in the car. My dad drove out with me. And I remember having to say goodbye to my mom, but it was this is what you're supposed to be doing. You are right where you're supposed to be right now, and we support you. And I think that for me, one of the things I don't like to admit is I tend to also, if I feel a challenge where I don't think people are going to believe in me or do it, because I heard, notions that not laughs or anything, but certainly things that were making me aware that people thought it was foolish or okay, or when are you coming back? I don't know, and I don't think I'm ever coming back because, I want to experience what this has to offer. So I think a part of me was also secretly a little bit of ego in there, wanting to prove myself but also others wrong, but prove myself right. At the time, I think that passion led me to here, but it's not sustainable. That wasn't sustainable, that passion for wanting to prove others wrong, but that's kind of something with my, that helped me get out here too.
I agree with that. Refusing to accept defeat refusing to give in, refusing to give up. Like, if you're waiting for me to suffer, you're gonna be waiting for a long time.
Bro, I'm so with you. I'm glad you said that, because like I will not, like, for me personally, because I've understood the art of this now, I'm not gonna stop growing. So I'm not gonna stop growing as an artist. So I've set my feet firmly planted in this this arena of life right now. So I feel really good, because if you're waiting on my downfall, me as a human's never going to recognize that anymore, because I know I'm constantly growing. So I don't care if I book another role. I don't care if I have another single do anything, because I am so rooted in the love of art that I have for this life, and like the human part of it. And I know it's easy to say at moments when it's like going your way, but the last 5 months I was not working, bro. And I'm okay to say that, because I'm like, I was going through it, but also understanding I just came off a great year. Like, what's going on? And I told my girl, I trust where I'm at. I know what I'm doing. Like, you know, and she told me this thing that's kind of stuck with me, is having a calm compass. You know, in life, she read me this piece of, she read me a piece of this book that talks about a calm compass, and I can't think of anything more beautiful, because the direction comes from inside, but it's always going to be built around if I'm feeling calm about the situation, or being able to breathe with it. If I'm not sure it's for me, you know. It might take a little bit more time to think about it, so, yeah.
That's new things to live by. Calm compass. I'll be on Amazon. I need that calm
compass. I need to remember what book that was, but like I just feel like that was such a beautiful thing to me, because I literally know where my compass sits. It sits right here, and but it's in the dimension that we can't see. You know, you can't touch, feel, taste, or anything. You can only feel that thing, and I think that that's really important to me. This, you know, going forward in my life.
And I think it's so easy for us to get distracted to where we don't have that confidence because of everything we see on social media. We want to make sure that we're pleasing everybody. We want to make sure that we're, like, it's almost like if you go on social media to talk about your accomplishments, you're bragging. If you don't say nothing, it's like, well, then you're not doing nothing. And it's like you've got to be able to silence those things and just focus on what it is that you're doing.
And I think that that's the part the part that you're speaking to is the part that I struggle with the most in this business, because I feel like I have a lot of talent, and I feel like everybody in this town does, right? Yeah. But I feel to share it, it's almost like peacocking, right? Yeah. And I've realized what I need to do is understand again that I'm expressing my art. What I'm expressing comes from an expression of me. It's not for validation of anyone else. It has to be certainly centered around something that comes from me. Because a lot of times it's like, oh, they did this, I'll do it better or something. But the game of comparison has never been one that led me. I'm more chasing my tail then, and I want to be going forward. I want to be going forward. I don't want to be chasing my tail. And I think that when the comparison, I'll be stuck in the same circle going round and around. So there's no room for growth there.
I feel you. So when you moved to LA, was there any hardships that you went through? Was there anything that you had to face on this journey that like almost made you quit, almost made you give up? I'm sorry, am I bringing up old memories? Like,
no.
You're
it's
like,
funny.
Why we keep going back to this?
No. You are perfect because I know where they sit right away. I know firmly they're landmarks in my growth. They're lessons, definitely. I remember when I first moved out here, I didn't understand how this town worked, and that like the first hold I got put on for a job or an avail, I didn't even know what that meant, you know? Yeah. She's like, you booked it, but not really. So I thought it was all easy. And then I got released. I'm like, what do you mean they booked me? I thought, she's like, no, it doesn't work like that. So like the first 6 months out here, I was like working at Abercrombie, and then I worked at a yogurt stop down in West Hollywood for I think 6 months. And I remember like getting, I think at that time, and God bless everybody that paid me whatever they paid me, but making $8.50 at Abercrombie and $8.50 at Yogurt Stop is not going to pay for your way out here. So I remember being in the position where I had to, I was down to like $79. I have a picture of it in my phone still to this day. I took a picture of it, and I was talking to my mom, and I said, I think I'm going to have to like move, like, and do this. She said, I don't care what you do. You're not coming home. I believe in you. This is what you're supposed to do. And so what I did was I took a quote unquote real job. I took a job that I knew what to do. I was a recruiter in Denver, staffing different positions and stuff. And so there are two wonderful people, Cindy and John, that took me. They had their own staffing company. And my true goal was to work, but also do that. Yeah. And then I remember I booked a Skechers commercial that I was an extra in that I made $300 for. And I was going to have to miss work for it. But I knew, and I was making like good, like sustainable money at that job. And I had to tell them, like, I took the job and I lied to them. I told them I was sick. And so I went down there and worked, but I remember being like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And something in my soul told me, I was like, I have to tell them that I missed work because I took this job, because I want more of this, and I think this might run into it. And I was going to see if they'd work with me. Unfortunately, they let me go, but I still keep in touch with John to this day. They were so supportive of me and everything, but I was doing all these jobs to do this, and I remember the first thing was like this print job that paid a big sum at the time, what was big, and I was finally like, I think I'm doing it. But everything that led to that point was literally confusing what my path was with what other people's dreams were, with am I crazy? Is this something I should even be doing? So that whole road, I go through this every day though. Like my check-ins with myself are constantly like there's days where like bro, not working for 5 months, I was like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
You know, and so, and you know, maybe I am, but I'm gonna believe in myself. But that's where I've gotten so far.
See, I know most people are listening to this like, what? He went back and told them? Like, you already got away with it?
Yeah.
See, I would have been like, I don't know if I would even went back and told. I would have been like, shit, I would have waited and see how things kept going. But I mean, the fact that you went and did that shows the type of person that you are and why you have so much success as is now.
I appreciate that. I feel like your words cast spells and they follow you. The older I get, the more I realize that. Like, so I only want to try to talk about as much positive as I can in the way that's going to get my energy in a place. But I just knew, like, I know that telling a lie or anything, the weight it sits with it isn't one that's going to be conducive to your growth. So I took the chance, and it paid off in the long run. But at the time, I was like, "You're right. Like you're kind of foolish. You should have just." But I was like, I can't do this anymore because I was bored. But like, it wasn't about their job. I would have been bored in any job that wasn't this.
That wasn't your passion.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't at the time. I was definitely nervous.
But I mean, look at you now. Though. So all those listening now be like, wait a minute, I need to go to my job and be truthful.
Yeah.
Be like, y'all know I don't like working here.
I mean, because I think there's certain phrases that we uncover as we live, but like without expression, life becomes depression, right? That's one that
without expression, life becomes depression.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like on my bumper sticker.
No, but it will affect the way you move in your day because if you're feeling down or anything, are you expressing? Are you emoting in the ways that you want to? Whether it be sad or glad or happy, I don't know if it matters as much as just take the time to express. But it takes time to get in touch with your emotions and sit with yourself. So there's a lot of processes, but yeah, and that leads to that calm compass. But the ways I've chosen to express myself, especially as of lately, have allowed me to soar. And that was one of the ways I chose at the time. And it was dangerous, but I guess, like you said, it worked out.
It did work out.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, when that's not crazy, I mean, it's amazing.
It feels crazy. And I think that the conversation I have with the most often with my girl is, I think in a lot of like, artists maybe figure this because I've decided to call myself an artist, like a creator.
Yeah,
I don't want to do anything other than that, right? And I think that when you decide to call yourself that, you're worried about what other people's perceptions or judgments. So you're an artist, you're a creator, you're this, you're that. And I can't explain to you other than only what I put out and what I express and emote, whether it be me, the human, or me on a camera screen or singing. That's all I got, and that's all I want to do.
But I agree with you, though, on that aspect. When you use the term artist, it's almost like the restrictions are taken off because you're on your own path. As an artist, like, you can't sit here and tell an artist's work is right or wrong because they're the ones that created it, and you can interpret it how any way you want to. You can accept it or you can neglect it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's what that artist put out there. It might not be your cup of tea, but it doesn't make it right, nor does it make it wrong.
You said, I don't, you literally, the way I feel about that was pretty much captured because I genuinely, like, as the person that was doing the business side of it, was worried so much about the like judge part, like the fourth wall being broken, people staring at you or like judging things. Most people, they care a little bit, but not as much as you think. But like, just like, this is my, like I said, I needed to think about it like art. Like, this is my painting. Here, look at it, and if you want to look at it longer, do. If you don't, go to the next one.
Go to the next one.
Yeah, but
like,
you said it perfectly, man.
And really. I don't get it why people go out of their way so much to spew hate on someone else's art. Like, no one's requiring you to listen to it. No one's requiring you to watch it. No one's requiring you to look at it. Like, if it's not your cup of tea, move on.
Man, I think that, and that for me is realizing it's the same way I treat every other artist. You're part of the traffic, right? You're one with, if you're going to complain about the traffic, realize you're in it, right? And I knew, like, as a part of the artist, I don't tell any other artist their stuff, even if I don't, like, necessarily like it. That was how they chose to express themselves. That's what they chose to do. And it allows me to take more pressure off myself, too. Exactly. Treating others how you want to be treated, right?
What you put out in the world will come right back to you.
Yeah.
So did you ever have, like, any real moments of doubt where you were, like, basically on the verge of giving up? Like, I know you spoke about how you had to go and find the regular 9-to-5 job, but even in that, was there ever a moment like, you know what? I don't think it's gonna work. Like,
bro, I quite mean this. If I'm gonna feel all feelings of life, it still comes up from time to time. Like these 5 months were a little frustrating and wondering, like, your worth. I definitely.
So you really thought it more recently?
Yeah, right? I felt. I mean, but like I said, it's a constant flow of that. I think it's gonna come in, but like that's part of the art. Like art doesn't flow with business. That's the hard part about this.
Say that again.
Art doesn't flow with business. And I had a conversation. I referenced my girlfriend, and she's wonderful. But we had this conversation. She lets me express to her in beautiful ways, like that music and business music is art. But when music is business and it's packaged and it's sold, it changes, it shifts form, and I needed to understand that, and I figured it out. But like, I only want to be expressing in ways that are natural to me. And the business side, I don't like numbers and things. I like the artistry of it. But yeah, man, I lost a little bit of train of thought there because I just started thinking about the business side and how much I detest. But, no, I definitely think that like that part that I enjoy right now is the music side of it, that being the actual artist and not having a label on me or anything that restricts me, because those parts of doubt that you speak to that I've come across, it negates that, because it's like, you're not struggling, you're an artist. That's part of your art.
Yeah.
That's part of that you're going to make this part of your art. You're going to make this story part of your songs. You're going to feel this sadness and make it part of your acting. Yeah. You're going to add these things to your tool belt. So those moments of doubt, I've tried to start reining in a way that can really support me.
I love it when artists can take that doubt, that vulnerability, and execute it so well in their performance, in their song, in their recording. So it's not just them trying to make a hit, a pop hit, but they're executing something that is inside of them, and then they're sharing it with the world. And that's a very serious thing to do. Like I watched you perform live one time, and I've seen your vulnerability on stage, and I've seen it even in your videos and whatnot. So when you get to that place of vulnerability in your art, do you ever question it, how does it all come about?
There's nothing more like gratifying and terrifying. There is nothing more beautiful than like I remember, so for me, my biggest thing is performance. My biggest thing, I don't care if I go in the studio because no one's seeing what I do or no one's seeing how I move. When I go out to the stage, it is the most nerve-wracking time before. And I remember, thinking like, if this is what you want to do more of, you have to be comfortable. So I've just tried to embrace every moment of it. Yeah. And it's been a lot more fruitful, but like the fears and the anxieties that come through that are so, they shake you to your core. But like facing your fears is one of the most gratifying things in the world, because it's literally a fake window. It doesn't exist. There's nothing there. There's nothing between you and that thing. It's just an action. Mm-hmm. And I'm such a perfectionist by fault of my own, in a sense that I need to understand that any false note, any word that I didn't get out on set or anything, use it. Don't take it and tell me, because if you can always paint over it. An artist isn't gonna come to the end of a painting and have one bad thing and go, the whole painting's done now, right? Mm-hmm. They wouldn't trash the whole piece. And
that has to be pretty conflicting within itself to be that vulnerable and to be a perfectionist. Like, I feel like you're fighting two energies.
Right, and you're speaking to something that could be like the therapy's talk
Yeah.
of it. It's the what you're speaking to is the part that I'm in the process in my life of understanding, of stop being perfect and start expressing more, start emoting more, because you're never gonna, and that's the great part, is because I am of this earth, so I'm growing just like the plants and the trees and the animals. So I'm never gonna stop growing until I have no breath in my lungs, right? And so the more mistakes I make, the more I learn. And I hate calling them mistakes even, because they're just lessons and stepping stones. I have made so many things, if I look back on like career-wise, and the fact that I can even say I have a career out here in one of the toughest industries is the coolest thing in the world. Like, my appreciation even in this conversation, thinking about that, is immense. But every piece that I've gone through to get to this piece looks so much different in the happening than on the other side of what the goodness is that I've learned from it. It all looks like chaos. It looks like commotion. And everything from the 10,000-foot view is calm. And it's like, oh, he's just moving this way. He's moving. But in the midst of it, I'm like, what am I doing? And that's why, like, you know, my practices of meditation and stuff are so important to me, because they ground me. Like, it's such a peaceful thing to let thoughts come and go and not have to hold on to them, and the perfectionism, because perfection makes me hold on, because I can't let it go, because there's one last thing to tinker with or something. Let it go. Just like your thoughts, let it go. It's just another thing. So, yeah.
He's talking to me right now. I gotta get back on track. Like, wait a minute. So, even with that practice, like, how often do you meditate? Is this like a daily practice for you?
Oh, that's a water bottle. That's a water. No, it is a daily practice. Sorry, it's a daily practice. But continue your question if there was more. Yeah.
I think that was it.
No, but yes, it is literally a practice. It is life to me, and the things that I care about most are practices of love, practices of care, practices of intention, practices of awareness. You know, because I haven't released music in forever. I have been doing my vocal scales and practice and singing songs every day. And there's days I'm like, this is nonsense. It's not, but it's me working on my expression in the best form I know. It's a practice that I know will help me express better. For acting, working and doing the constant reps, for staying in shape, or whatever it is. Like, these are all practices. Like, for me, my life is built around practices, and you don't have to be aware and call them practices. I do meditation now. I'm with meditation now because I genuinely love the transformation that it has allowed me to have in my life, the ways I've transformed my life. Does that mean I've gotten anything like material that's come my way because of it? No, my world is gold right now. Like, I see it all it's just is. And I know that sounds so, you know, like, okay, like there's good and bad days or whatever, but you realize you can't label them as good and bad days. They just are. They just are. Yeah, so it's a practice that is really strong with me. And I think I got it by one of my really good friends. He kept inviting me into the practice, and I kept bucking it, and I'd be like, nah. He sat down with me for like the first 6 months. We would wake up at 6 a.m. I would FaceTime him. He lives out in Colorado. We'd sit and meditate for 10 minutes at a time and then talk about our days. It was so therapeutic. As I got into my own practice of doing it, you know, we still connect with each other, you know, but it is a beautiful thing that has helped my life, man.
Wow.
Tremendously. If there's anybody listening, please. It's gonna be, let's see, like I only know this because the meditation app tracks it, but it's like 600 days in a row right now.
Okay.
You know, so almost you know, we're coming up on not quite, but when we get to 2 years, like I just feel like everybody could benefit from sitting with themselves for a little bit. In a world that's always going, I feel like even in this room right now, it would feel so awkward. But there's so much appreciation for you and the people that are here with me right now that, like, it would also feel really good. Yeah. So
I think that was one of the good things that did come out of the pandemic. We all got to take time and sit with ourselves.
Do you get to meditate at all?
I do. I actually have started that practice of meditating. I'm doing it probably about like 3 to 4 times a week. I'm not doing it daily yet.
You'll have to let me know, man. Try that daily vitamin and tell me, because it is one of those now, like, if I feel a little like something's buzzing differently in me, I tend to sit now and I'll go meditate. You know, it's good.
It is good. I mean, for me, as someone who deals with anxiety for about a lot of things going on in the world, things going on in your personal life. It's like you just have to take that moment to just kind of, I want to say check. I guess it is kind of like checking out, but checking in.
It is, to me, I like factory reboot every time. I used to think that the goal was not to think. It's to understand that you do have thoughts and they don't need to be held on to, and you can just let them go because, you know, for the anxiety in me, the part that speaks to me the most is when you talk about the anxiety, but I realize how many times I'm holding on to a thought that's building a story that's attaching itself, and I am not my thoughts. I am not my thoughts, right? And I'm attaching myself. So anxiety, oh, I have anxiety. No, I don't. My soul doesn't know what anxiety is. That human shell of me, that outside exterior that's been, you know, brought up in this world that has to have a shell and not be vulnerable and do these things. I want to be perfect. There's where my anxiety comes from, because I know it's not possible at all times. I'm never going to. So I always want to be perfect. It's not achievable. I'm going to continue to chase my tail, right? That meditation allows me to, like, I'm even if I chase my tail, stop quicker. Stop quicker. So yeah.
Because I know one thing for me, the two best advice that I've been given, and I still live by today: you'll never live to see the day when you please everybody. It won't happen. And you'll never, ever live up to perfection.
No. And you know, I'm going with that because my dad, we had a conversation a couple weeks ago, and he said something that stuck with me. He said, you got to watch your attitude, you know, because your attitude will become a mood. And that is, I know it sounds so simple, but, you know, one bite back at someone like, excuse me, that attitude right there, like a couple more sentences of what can become a mood, but that mood affects your day. And why do I want to live in anything but like what I get to choose, which I'm going to choose the best, mood. So but like, I really believe that the ways we move are the more we have more choice in the ways we move than we think.
We do.
Meditation shows me that, definitely, yeah.
So would that be like probably some of the best advice you actually live by, or is there other gems? 'Cause I know we were thinking about a lot of gems this entire process, this entire interview.
Man, I don't know if I have any gems, just as much as I hope that there are people out there that hear this and decide to tap into, no matter what your profession is, the artist inside of them. There are so many people that, I don't want to say 9 to 5s, whatever it is that you do, that but you also have a way to express or emote yourself, that you should really dive into that, because I think that even if you don't feel as if there's a depression or a lack of in life, there is a lot to enhance your life through expressing and emoting. So I hope that more people decide to start expressing themselves, because I feel in that way, I tend to look at the world as a macro, right? But I can only look at my world, the micro, and who I am, and then hope the micro influences the macro. That's always been my thing, right? That's why I work with South LA, because I know getting a chance to work with them is going to create a chance to help others, right? I always want to be one piece of something that's a bigger piece, that's a bigger piece, that's a bigger piece. And if I can be love right here, and you can feel that in this room, and so can they, then like, that's me. That's where I'm at, and I'm sitting in a good place, So yeah.
That's good.
that's my piece.
But I wish, because it literally is, because I spoke about that earlier. I experienced that firsthand, first time we ever met.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That love, that brother. I'm like, wow, wait a minute. Like, come here. Like, usually most people be like, oh, thank you for your donation. Have a good day. Like, nah, you put it down on the floor. It was like, yo, come on in here. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I think that's my wish. I hope we had more touch points. I told my girl that. I said, I try to have as many touch points throughout my day now, in terms of, I'll say hi to as many people as I can. Try to strike up small conversations. They don't need to be like, I'll be with the person in Trader Joe's and be like they'll ask me something, and then I'll ask them a little bit about who they are, because they're not a grocery bagger. The person working the front desk at the gym is not a front desk person. You are not whatever we are. Like, we're too labeled. We're too bound in. We're not giving enough for who we know ourselves to be, right? And I like to have as many touch points, so I would encourage everybody to have touch points, but built around love, because this is the thing. I guess this is a point. My two ways to look at life. There's two ways to look at everything. There's fear and there's love, right? Yeah. And if it's coming out of my mouth, is it fear or is it love that's coming out of my mouth? And a lot of times, a lot of people are coming from a place of fear, even if they're trying to set boundaries. I can set boundaries through language of love. Yeah. I can communicate in loving ways to let people know who I am and how I operate, without having to let attitudes become moods that are something less than a vibration that is of peace and harmony. I want to be in those places a lot more often in my life, and I get to choose that much more often than I think. I'm not going to ever be able to choose what comes in my way, but I'll be able to choose how I respond to that. Yeah. And I always want to try to at least give the first thought be to love. fear is going to be acknowledged because it would be not human to don't think that doesn't exist. Yeah. But I want to lean towards love coming on the outside of it, like finishing with love, everything we do.
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. That's one thing. I forget who always says it, but always lead with love. And thing is, like, you never know what someone is going on and what's going on in someone's day, their moment. Like, just the random stranger, they could be dealing with the loss of someone. They could be dealing with the loss of a job. Like, something could be going on. And then you just coming up smiling to them and just having like that little small pocket of side conversation may be a life-changing moment.
It really is. And I think that's just bringing moments of awareness to other people. Like, I see, like, Celia at South LA Cafe, she said this: everybody has the desire to be seen, loved, heard, and valued. And that's always stuck with me, because I don't think that you can poke a hole in that logic, because I think that everybody that I talk to has that same want. They just like treat me like a human. Like, don't pass over me. Like, while we have this moment of, I don't care if it's for 5 seconds, I'm gonna be there with you for 5 seconds. So that is something that I also wanted to sneak in there, as you said, that is the want to be seen, loved, heard, and valued. I think every human has that innately in them, whether we know it or not or want to acknowledge it. But the quicker we do, the quicker we can say that that's what we want for ourselves, and like, I'm going to do that to others, because we also know that the inside is just a mere reflection,
So true. And that's hard for a lot of people to acknowledge. I mean, especially for men.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to acknowledge that they want to be seen, heard, loved. Like, it's a crazy world that we live in, to where we're afraid to give what it is that we know that we need as well. And other people, is like, we're so consumed with how we're going to be seen. We're so consumed with how we're going to be judged. Like, I can't sit here and hug my brother. I can't sit here and say, hey, man, I love you, I'm with you. But, what's going on with there? You got to watch yourself now. He just told that brother he loved him. He told that brother he was looking out for him. Like, hey, what's up with that? Like, nah, like, yo, chill with all that.
It's just too much, man. Yeah. But here's the thing, bro. There are sayings aplenty, but the one that I thought of when you said that was like, the people who need love the most ask for it in the most unloving ways. Yeah. And I think it's a lash out. It's the inner child in you lashing out and asking for whatever it is to be seen, loved, heard, and valued, but you don't know how to articulate through the language of love, because either you were never exposed to it in your childhood, or you never have gone to progress to that level. But a lot of times when I see anger, I kind of am like, I see the empathy in it and understand, I know that there's another side to this person, right? But they're just asking for it. Yeah.
So we touched on it earlier, the work that you've had to put in. You said your daily practice is not only in meditation, but then in your vocal warm-ups and things. Is there any type of other physical work that you have to put in daily, to be great on this journey that you're on?
The greatness is gonna I'm gonna say it relies solely on self, in the sense of, I'm gonna continue to do those practices of, it's everything you spoke of, but meditation. Then I usually go to the gym. Yeah. Then I go to Fryman, go on my little walk, and then I'll come home and whatever's on the plate that day. And during those months where it was nothing, sometimes it's nothing. Yeah. But that's what got me back into music so hard, is because I started to become depressed, and I was like, I want to express, because I knew I wanted to put out new music. Mm-hmm. I'm like, just do it then. Go express, So, but like, my days are filled with beauty and getting to express, man, right now. I love it.
Was there a turning point where a gig or an opportunity that came along that changed your life, that made you look at life differently?
Oh, man. Yeah, It's come for me more recently, bro.
Okay.
I really am talking to you from a place of understanding and appreciating. I think once I decided to wear the full hat of being an artist, and I don't care what happens. I don't. I just want to be able to express and really live these words and be with that. This is one of the first times in my life, and I think everybody's on this journey where they think they have to feel better today or tomorrow or something. I'm sitting here and I know 35 isn't the oldest, but it's not the youngest. There's kids trying to figure it out at 20. Continue to experience and learn, but more openness, more love and stuff has led me to a position where I'm finally coming out of it's not dark. It wasn't necessarily always dark, but just a place where I felt like I wasn't quite sure of what I was about or what I stood for. Yeah. I am never more stood with 2 feet planted on the ground, knowing that than right now, and I'm okay with that. And I understand that it's an ever-flowing process. So that's how I feel today, and check in with myself today or tomorrow and see how I feel. But it's always going to be changing.
Yeah, that's life. That's how I feel.
It is.
Yeah. feel you on that. So I know you were talking about the last 5 months haven't been as great. So is the grind still happening though? Are you still out there hustling and grinding, or is it like you're at this point in your career where it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait around. The gigs are coming.
No, bro. I mean, still for me, every audition, bro, I'll take any and everything that comes my way. You know, I think that I'm still as hungry as ever, but I needed to tune into what I was hungry for. Because at a buffet you can eat everything. Yeah. But I wanted to know what was actually gonna make me better, and this time it was quiet and it's calm. I was like, maybe I should be doing more. I think that action out of guilt, when you feel guilty, like maybe I should do something. I wanted to do inspired action. And when you're acting out of inspiration versus guilt, it's a far better place to have a good energy going that creates something meaningful.
So you have about 15 original songs out right now. I'm assuming 15.
Right about, yeah.
And I'm assuming there's more to come. So what type of work goes into creating the C.J. Hammond music, the C.J. Hammond brand when it comes to music?
Oddly enough, I think that I'm still figuring that out at this point, but I always knew that I wanted to mix the new with the old. Sounds and harmonies and melodies that I grew up with when I was a kid, and then try to find a new age that would bring that middle ground with those two. And the singles, it's crazy because I released them as singles because we never really knew where I was going with the music. It was always just create this piece, create this piece, create this piece, and it's good. But I think once again that showed that I wasn't tapping into the artist in the sense of knowing what I wanted to create or how I wanted it to sound. I was getting to work. I get to work with tremendous people all the time, but the artist in you has to know where you're going. People can say this sounds good, this could work for you, but you have to figure out what's working for you.
Yeah.
And so all that music, I'm really, really proud of it. A lot of it, I've gotten to have my family in the music videos and things, but it's so fun to know where I was at and how it's, because a lot of it is dealing with, heartbreak or sadness and stuff. And that sort of speaks to what I wanted to emote in my life at that time. Now I'm in a place where a lot of my music is about the good side of things, living on the other side, because I can always acknowledge that side. I can write a love song at any time, but the music that I wanted to put out now is all about good energy, being around good things or triumph over tragedy.
You said mixing the old school with the new. So growing up, what were your parents playing that you would consider old school that have influenced your style?
Man, it was actually I always remember this. The Temptations was always. I always remember the Temptations as a little kid, and I thought they were the coolest. You remember the little Raisinettes?
The Raisinettes, yeah.
I thought the Temptations were the coolest. But anything that honestly Bonnie Raitt, all that stuff
You're very eclectic.
Bro, I like Michael Bolton, bro. Michael Bolton can sing. If you disagree, listen to him. Listen to him. No. But I like it all, man. And it was all part of my influence. And I think that that's what I realized. My upbringing made me want to sound like I sound. And when I try to tell people, they didn't have the same experiences I did, so they might not understand it when they first like my ideas for songs and stuff. A lot of my stuff sounds like, you're gonna try that? Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it my own way. And if you're with me, all my people are let's make it work. Because you cannot translate the vision that's in your head. It's really hard. You can only help to paint a silhouette and help them fill in the colors, right? So I'm trying to do that with everybody, and that's, the music that's come out, and I'm really proud. Throne came from such a real place, I wanted to be for when we talk about things like Engage the Vision and stuff, that kind of stuff inspired me with that. So, yeah.
So, what's next for you? We've spoke about the music, we've touched on the acting and the modeling and how it all started. So, what's next? Are there any uncharted waters in this industry that you're ready to explore?
Man, you know what? I'm gonna let life unfold, but I'm gonna remain open in every way and know that I'm gonna go where I'm led through divine inspiration, I guess, because you said that, and I think about it, and I've gotten a chance to produce, and I thought about that. Now, do I want to produce again, or maybe I want to direct or things like that? But I think that experiences will everything in my life has literally been, I never forecasted anything that's happened right now. And I think I would, because I don't think me forecasting, I think I'm going to cut God short.
Yeah.
I think me trying to put a limit on what God has that there are no limits to, even if I told you what's next, God would say, think bigger. think bigger. So that's why I have some things that I want to continue to grow as an actor, as a musician, and just as a human. But I think the human part is what predicates everything else, or everything else is going to be based off of. Is my growth as a human is going to help me with, as an artist, as an actor, as a musician, as a philanthropist. It's going to be beautiful because I'm going to be more in line here.
So what I love about you is that you acknowledge your growth. You acknowledge the things, like a lot of times we're so focused on what's ahead of us that we don't look back and see how far we've come. Like, you don't realize that you just ran 15 miles, but you're like, I still got to make it to that finish line. Like, do you ever, because I know I had to get on myself about doing this. I had to sit here and take it all in. Like, some days I had to talk to myself. I had to use my government name, Kendrick. Like, you really doing it. Like, you really just need to be okay with where you're at on this journey. Do you ever have to do that yourself? Have to take it all in, or is that just all part of even with the meditation?
Why are you reading in my brain right now? I was just about to tell you. I was going to tell you it's the meditation that helps me, because that thought comes up consistently. Because a human thinks about their worth all the time, I think. But I think releasing my need to have my worth come from anything outside of myself is going to be the biggest next step for me, because meditation really truly allows me to break all that stuff down. And here's the part: meditation doesn't mean you open your eyes and then the world's beautiful. It just means that at least you've examined it and you have awareness and you've thought maybe around it. But it's an ever-growing process of there's days where I really want to look back on my resume and be like, hell yeah. But I also know that you have to have a paycheck out here. So your hell yeah can only go as far as your ability to, food and shelter and stuff. But I'm so fortunate at this moment in my life to say that is what allows me to do that, is to have the things that I enjoy. Like, for me, it's really simple. I'm looking for a roof over my head, some food in my stomach, and some good conversations and stuff like that. Then it's allowed me to do that, you know? So, yeah.
I mean, even for me, when I started practicing meditation, it was one practice that was suggested for me to try, and it was the smile and breathe. And I had did that for about a good 10 to 15 minutes, and afterwards I had tears coming down.
Yeah.
Because I was forcing myself to smile, like I guess smiling was like letting go. I guess that was my community. Like, I was letting go of everything, like to just be okay in the moment. Smile, it's going to be all right. And like after, I was like, why do I feel like?
Do you think there's any awareness that was drawn to how hard you are on yourself, though, because of the question you asked me, because of how far you've come, and you sees it, and the outside you wants to keep saying no, do more. Like, I feel like that's, to your question, like, I see how far I've come, but I don't give it credence other than a fond sense of appreciation for the here and now. It's allowed me to be here and now, because if that was the case, there's people that see me on like a poster board in a grocery store in Florida still to this day, and I'm like, I've done movies and stuff, or like an enterprise, I've done other things, but they're showing appreciation for me where I'm at, and if that's what they see, cool. But as long as they see me as the good person that I know myself to be, I think that's more important. So yeah.
In all of your achievements and all the accomplishments and the things that you've done, you still find time to give back to the community. Why do you do that? Is that just for you, or is that because you see the community needs it? Like, what's your purpose behind it?
I think I have a strong sense of community within me because the way I was brought up, like my family, and then sports and camaraderie. Like, my family is one of love. We always have known that. I don't know why. So I got out here, and I remember the first year that I was living out here, I just wanted to do a turkey drive, right? And that's how the turkey drive started, because it just came from just knowing, like, there are other people that are not in a privileged position to have a turkey this year, or whatever it is you eat, and they could use a meal. So, but it wasn't like I literally was just like the plug in it, where I was like, hey, I'm raising turkeys. I brought a turkey, and then 100 other people brought a turkey. And I think the first year it was 25 people at my gym. Yeah. They all just brought a turkey, and I was so grateful, and the people were grateful. Then next year, let's make it bigger and bigger. But I think that there's, for me, everything, Engage the Vision led me to be with South LA Cafe so deeply and intimately. And every step has led me to something else. So it's just in me, innately, the want to be around community and others. And I feel like for me, I'm in a position where I want to be around people that are going to feel this love and really appreciate it. I feel like, there are people in privileged positions that do not appreciate things. And when you're coming from a place of, it's not lack, just a place of like sure, like there's people need food and clothes and shelter. That is a far different like place to be in and appreciation and things like that. And I like being in places where I don't want to call it serve just as much as be me. Like I love people.
Yeah.
And like South LA loves me to be me. Like it's not because I'm going there to serve necessarily. Every volunteer is so cool. Every person in line is so appreciative. The community is like so. I should have worn my shirt today. Everybody's like hitting on a different vibration. That energy, like I don't care about what kind of car you drive or nothing like that. Like I want to care how many people you affect in your life for the better. And those people at South LA are really about that. They really are. They give 200 bags of groceries every Wednesday to the community. They've been doing it for almost 60 weeks. Wow. That is so many families, so many mouths fed. But meals mean more than we take it for granted so many times. Like my meal, I knew I had 3 meals today, right? And there are some people out there that don't. And it's not to play like I'm with you. Yeah. I am with you. I want to help you have the 3 meals today then too. So that's where it comes from, man. It's just I have a strong sense of empathy for my parents, specifically for my mother. She worked for Denver Health Medical Center for 40 years. I love her. I love both of my parents, mom and dad. I love you to death and through. And I love them deeply, and they have instilled that in me. Like, it's about other people. Like, I never got to meet my grandfather on my dad's side, but he was a preacher of a church. So I feel like there's a part of my grandfather that I never knew that, like, when I talk about helping others, it tends to come out. Yeah.
Wow. So how long have you been working with South LA, and how long have you been working with Engage the Vision?
Engage the Vision's been for a while, and honestly, Engage the Vision, ever since the pandemic hit, it moves in different ways because it was harder to get inside schools with COVID. Now that the restrictions are lifted, I'm excited to see how we continue to grow again. But with South LA, I was working on the thing with Engage the Vision. I was working on a drive. I'm trying to think of what it was called. Oh my gosh! But we did a marathon. Basically, what you did was you donated money and you did a pledge, and we raised money for them. And in that, I was looking for businesses to partner with. I met Joe and Celia at South LA. Saw what they were doing. Joe invited me down for a Wednesday, and then it was every Wednesday I was down there. And obviously, now that the pandemic's ended, there's work, so I'm a little bit busier. But I try to get down there once a month. They just opened up a new spot at the Hollywood Bowl.
I seen that.
Their growth has been tremendous. I'm so happy for Joe and Celia. Like they're people. It makes it so easy to go and volunteer for them or spread the word of their goodness because you just know that you can trust the soul of it.
I think I actually met Joe. He was at your performance downtown LA that time.
Yeah.
He
big bald guy?
Yeah, big
They're amazing people, and that's an amazing, because they have a nonprofit arm now, and I'm on the board with that. So I take a lot of pride with South LA. Yeah.
Do you see yourself like starting your own, or are you what's wrong?
No, it's funny, because I have visions of that. I don't know how it's going to materialize, and like I said, I don't know what it like, because this is the thing is, nonprofits are beautiful, but if it's literally just me, like going out and doing my turkey drive every year, bro, but making it bigger and bigger and feeding like 1,000 people instead of 100, like I'm okay. I don't even need labels. Like I'd love to start a nonprofit, but I'll let it show itself, because I always think that a nonprofit also should go to where, like, if my nonprofit is going to be there, I want to be part of a community and see how I can help them, not just go drop in your community and do my thing for you guys. How can I enhance while being a part of the community? And I think that takes more time and understanding. And like in my life, working with South LA and other communities affected that are a little underserved, I think that I'm learning that. This is my learning time to see where my nonprofit can take off in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know what avenue you would go into, or you just like,
I would love to work with youth, because I believe mentors are very important. I have a few people that I mentor on the side, and I really take pride in that, because I believe that there are people that didn't have I had a privilege with two beautiful parents that really helped guide and shape me. They were mentors that really were an integral part of my life while letting me make my own choices. Mm-hmm. And if I can do that for anybody else, then I definitely would love to do that.
Okay. I get that. I get that. So you're building your legacy, whether or not you want to call it a legacy. You're building this brand, this CJ Hammond of who he is. 100 years from now, you're gone. What do you want to leave behind to this world? How do you want CJ Hammond to be defined as?
We're gonna make it really easy.
Okay.
If you want me to expand on this sentence, I will. But how do I want to be remembered? It's really simple. Like just one word. It's love. I know it sounds very like cliche, but the word is small and bigger than anything on this planet in what it encompasses and how it can transform lives and move and maneuver. And if anybody is around me that can feel or know that I was love, not that I was loving. I don't want to be loving. I just want to, it's so important to just be that thing and be the example. If I can be one example, I want to be love. So I hope that's what I'm known as, and anybody, whether they listen to music or see a film or something, I'd love to write a book, bro.
Okay.
If anything, I hope that it would just allow for more people to be a part of a loving community.
I agree with that. I mean, I can already see that you're showing love in everything that you do. Even like we've already established, that's one thing I think that's going to be evident and easily given.
Yeah, man, and like I said, it's really not attached to an outcome. That's the cool thing is love is not attached to whether I made a Billboard chart, or whether I made a Grammy. Or an Academy. It's about literally, when you anybody that when you die, I would hate for someone to come to my funeral and be like, yo, the way he sung I'm lost, versus coming and being like, yo, CJ really loved hard, and I hope I can do the same to other people. That would be the coolest thing. Yeah.
So we've talked about a lot of project and stuff that you've done. Is there anything you have coming up next that you want to talk about?
Yeah. So there's a film on Lifetime that's going to come out called The Doctor's Secret. I don't know what day, and if that title changes between now and then, then okay. But the working title. Yeah, the working title was The Doctor's Secret. But I'm excited for that to come out because I finally get to play a different role. I had kind of been some dads in a few, but I got to play a detective in this one, which is fun.
I feel like you always play a dad.
Yeah, right? No, yeah.
Even the commercials and stuff I'm seeing you.
They know me. I have that dad vibe. And I'm okay with it though, but I got to play another character. So, and then just all the new music that's gonna come out. I have right now in the waiting, I've got about 10 tracks that are close to finalized, and I'm really excited to put them out because of the way I'm approaching it. Yeah. Understanding that I'm just putting out art. So I'm really excited to just see sort of the reception, but I'm literally so proud of the way it sounds because it sounds like the way I wanted it to sound.
And you're releasing these out as single, or are you going to do an album?
So it looks like right now I'm working with a few different producers, and with each one of those I'm going to be releasing as separate things. So 3 here, 4 here, 2 here, that kind of thing.
That's how they used to do it back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. So I'm excited though. I really am. And then just growing with the South LA and all their expansion, and then seeing where life takes me, man. That's kind of what's on the horizon right now. Hopefully there's some things that I'm waiting on to find out that I told you about before this, and we'll see where things land with that. But a lot of growth. Yeah.
You never know. Probably by the time this goes up, you'll be like, oh, he's already filming the next project. That's
your words to God's ears. So let's go.
There you go. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you for coming here and talking with me and chatting it up. I feel like it's the first time we've actually really spoke to this in depth. I mean, I know now a lot about you. I don't think you probably know that.
You're next. Turn the cameras around.
I don't think you know that much about me just yet, but still, one day we'll sit down. We'll talk outside of Fryman.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I'm truly I'm pleasured to be here because I really feel an appreciation for getting to express and you allowing me to and have this kind of conversation.
Of course, man. I want to say thank you to CJ for coming through. Please, everybody, do yourself a favor and go check him out on all streaming platforms, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. He on all of them. Yep. Thank you again for taking time to chat with us. Continue to do great things and continue to allow the light that is within you to emit while you're on this journey. We appreciate you, my man.
received. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Be blessed, man.
Yeah.
And for anyone that has a dream, I want to leave you with these words today. Robin Sharma says, "Love is the secret weapon of the iconic entrepreneur. Work with love, lead with love, serve with love. Do these and you become undefeatable." I hope today's podcast and today's interview really touched you. And I hope that whatever it is you are doing in your life, I hope you are doing it with love. Thanks again for tuning in. My name is Ken Maurice Purnell, and this has been The Dreamer, The Believer. Thank you.